Now, I gotta say, I do love the new Twitter much more than I like the Jack Dorsey one. The Jack Dorsey one was set up to be like a medieval society where you were the disgusting peasant and the blue check marks were your nobility. But a nobility that belonged in a mental asylum, like they had the most bizarre, bewildering, anti human takes imaginable, to the point where there was even a meme that someone with a blue check mark is pretty much mentally ill. And of course, this is because they had these luxury beliefs. Most of the radical far left extremist elements came from Twitter at the time. And the worst thing was it that, just like in a medieval society, there were two sets of rules. One set of rules that was harsh for the peasantry that stepped out of line, and another set of rules that was benevolent towards the aristocracy, the blue check marks. And it was revealed that in order to get a blue check mark, you had to pay a bribe under the table. Like they went for really high. I think it was like $10,000. And this is before inflation, right? Like this is before the 2020. So it's probably like $20,000 now. And once you got a blue check mark, you were kind of immune to all the terms of service. You became like the Hassan Piker of Twitter. I have seen blue check marks dox people. I have seen them issue death threats. I have seen them behave in the most unhinged way imaginable, and nothing would happen to them. And so it created this platform of unfairness, which a lot of people hated. And it was also the censorship that wasn't even rational. For example, there was the time period where the peasants were telling the journalists to learn to code, right? This is because a lot of journalists were getting fired at the time, and they used to publish articles back in the day when miners were upset about the fact that the coal mines are closing during Obama period, and they were desperate, and the journalists were just telling them to learn to code. So like people were basically doing some level of cosmic justice, and Twitter started banning people that were telling journalists to learn to code, right? Like the protection of the nobility was insanely high. but that era is over, right? Like we don't live in that era anymore. We have now the Elon Musk Twitter, which still has censorship. Much of it is forced by governments. A lot of people don't talk about this. They pretend that Elon Musk is censoring people. When in reality, if you look at Brazil's legislation, if you look at the European Union's legislation, if you look at the United Kingdom's legislation, Twitter is forced to censor legally. And so it simply cannot, like a free speech platform in 2025 is just impossible. We will never get the 2016 era internet. Like no matter what you do, like even if you start your own platform, you're physically incapable of having it for free speech if it gets past a certain number. So like if your platform has hundreds of millions of people, there is absolutely no way that you can have an unmoderated platform like Twitter in the current era. And so, I get where the censorship is coming from, but at least it's applied consistently. Like I don't see that there are people on Twitter right now that are above it. I don't see the Hassan Pikers of Twitter. And so from that point of view, I'm actually happy with it. But there are other things that really displease me about the platform, and hopefully they can change. And so the first one is the monetization. It's not a bad idea to pay content creators for their work. In fact, now this is pretty much how the internet functions, and this is also how I do my job, right? But the way it's done on Twitter, it incentivizes bad faith actors. Like instead of having people that genuinely try to create stuff in order to make something that other people want to watch, there's a lot of rage baiting going on, and there is a lot of posts that are just done to grab viewers' attention while not providing anything of value in return. And so I do think that this is actually ruining the platform. For example, there's a lot of posts that show an AI version of the moon landing into Earth and then asking, like, what would you do in this type of situation? And it kind of forces people to engage, like they go there and they click, and those posts get like millions of views. But it doesn't really provide anything that's worthwhile engaging. It doesn't really stimulate a conversation or anything, right? And one of those posts aren't the problem, but like when you're scrolling and you're seeing like hundreds of posts like that in your timeline, it makes you feel like you're wasting time. Like you have to go past through all of the slop in order to just get to a post that's interesting. The other one is the Rage Boy post, right? Which, in my opinion, it happened last week. Like Ash talked about it, I talked about it. You had a lot of Christians that all of a sudden say ban porn. And they redefine what porn means to translate into like anything that can titillate the senses, like Melody Mack's definition. You know, if it's a girl in a bikini, that's pornography. And so like that has to be banned, right? Like if it's in a video game, the entire video game has to be banned. If it's in a TV show, the entire TV show has to be banned. These types, and of course, like bad faith arguments. Like if you're talking against digital ID, they will say that you're a gooner. To me, it felt extremely astroturfed. Like it felt as if it's being pushed by a lot of bots. Like the way astroturfing works in 2025 is that you find a community that would push your message naturally, but then you artificially pump it up. So like if you have a content creator that generally doesn't like pornography and he says something about it, then you push like 10,000 bots in his post so that his post goes all the way up, right? Like this is how modern manipulation is being done, very effective. And so these are rage bait posts, right? Like people understand that outside the United States, this mentality doesn't exist. And when you post something like that, it's very antagonistic. And it causes people to start arguing with each other, causes a lot of negativity, and brings the platform down from like having normal conversations to just people insulting each other, attacking each other over trivial shit. And this is just one example with the pornography, but there are like so many others. Like I've seen it done almost constantly, like a lot of astroturfing with bots, but also without bots. And it's mostly like people not necessarily like believing in something, but posting it anyway because they know it drives engagement, right? Like they know that if I post something that enrages people, I'm going to get a lot of clicks and then I'm going to get monetized. And that's pretty much it, right? Like they're posting stuff not because it's fun, not because they want the conversation, but simply to get cash. And it's the financial incentive that's the problem here, right? Because again, like if you actually try to post something wholesome, you don't get many clicks. If you try to post something that's entertaining, you don't get many clicks. But if you post something that enrages people, that gets communities to break apart over, you know, like the most divisive issues, then you get a lot of money. And so this is one of the problems. And the second problem, it's tied to this one, is the fact that there's a lot of people from foreign nations doing this, right? Like I've noticed there are some people that I know who are running accounts from India, or they're running accounts from Asia, and they were LARPing as Western Christians, talking about banning pornography. And I'm like, dude, I know you're not from the United States. I know that even if this gets banned, it doesn't affect your country. I know what you're doing. You're trying to get the cash, aren't you? You're trying to reach your hand into that nice little wallet and, you know, Elon Musk's cash and get some payments in return. Again, it's not about just pornography. Like, this is the latest conversation, right? But, like, I have seen it done in so many other cases, like in so many other divisive issues where you have people that are from outside of the United States pretending that they're a member of the US and trying to rage bait, right? Like, they're not having like a cohesive ideology or genuinely believing in stuff. No, like they're having like takes that they know are outrageous and only outrageous takes. And so I myself, like, for instance, I'm not American, right? It's not a surprise, but at least I'm telling people, right? Like I'm letting people know that my opinion comes as a guy that's from outside of the US. And usually what I focus mostly on is censorship, right? Because I care about the internet, and the stuff that's on the internet does affect me. And so, like, mostly I talk about censorship, free speech, freedom of expression. This is what I care about. And, of course, lowering taxes. But these other people that we're discussing, they don't care about that. They care about monetization. And they're pretending as if they're part of the American society and are affected directly by the negative things that are happening there, in order to soothe the dissenting communities. Because that's the worst thing, right? It's not that they're having political takes. It's no, like they want to foster dissent. And so, yeah, I think like Elon Musk actually said that the solution to this would be to have people's flags in their bios so that you know, like, okay, person is from Pakistan, this person is from India. I don't know if this would actually fix the issue because VPNs exist. And it would also hurt some other people. Like if you have a Chinese individual that wants to spend time on Twitter, right now, he has like the Chinese flag. And he's from a country where it's illegal to access Western platforms. So yeah, I'm not sure like this would be a solution. But hey, at least I guess like even Elon Musk is understanding that this may actually be a problem that's getting people to leave Twitter. And by the way, like a lot of people talk about how bad porn is, but like I'm looking how bad social media is because when you have like these people that are constantly unhappy and miserable, you go onto their accounts and it's nothing but negativity. It's just like posts after posts of demeaning other people, news that are doom and gloom, the fall of society, the fall of Rome, and it just like keeps scrolling down and scrolling down. It's like just like nonstop negative news. And there's no hobbies, there's no passion, there's no creativity, there's nothing. Just like constantly demeaning others and telling other people how to live their lives. I guess like the expectation is that the rest of society has to change so they have happiness. Like their happiness comes at the expense of our misery, right? Like we need to be miserable so they can be happy. And I don't think like this is normal. What I mean is like, of course, everyone can have standards and morals that they try to force on others, or that people can share negative news. But when for like 2 years you consistently only do that, only rage memes and only news that are negative, and like not even a sign of a hobby, not even a sign of something that's positive, I have to wonder, like, doesn't it affect the person that like spends their entire day at a computer, like surrounded by this level of negativity? And it's like, is this like a natural state of mankind, or is it this what social media does to people? Is it what Twitter is doing to people? Like, I have a son now, and imagine that your son goes at the computer and spends his entire day like just surrounded by this rage and negativity. Like, surely it can't be healthy, Just my take on this, because we're talking about public health now, and like public health is also mental health. So we need to address this at some point. Is it positive to spend so much time on social media? Like, since we're having digital ID anyway, shouldn't we limit the time other people spend on social media? Like, there's no justification for someone to spend 8 hours on social media. That's too much. I think, like, if it's now connected to a digital ID and we can actually see how much time a person spends, it's not healthy for them, right? It's not justifiable for them to spend that much time. And I think, like, 2 hours per day is more than reasonable, right? So we also need to consider... joking, by the way, absolutely joking. But to summarize, the two main issues that I have with Twitter, which hopefully can be improved, number one is the monetization. And number two are people that are from outside the US, pretending that they're inside the US without